How you doing, everybody? Uh, Brian Thomas Jr. Eclo, how are you? Hey, football fan. Junior, hi, Junior. Hey, Nate. Okay, sound and video are good. Great. I don't know. It was showing a different thing, and right before I was straightening things out and trying to get everything all fixed up. I've been working on our sort of our faux baguette here. Let me show you this. Um, it's I haven't locked it down yet in the case, but I got all the hands on. Ran into some interesting problems, and so it's coming along. You can see it still has a long stem, and I got to cut the stem and a bunch of other things that I'll be going over. Um, One of the things, I don't know if you've seen these or not, they're called friction balls, and they're used for unscrewing the back, and they're really handy. This is the other kind of tool that's used, and I'm not crazy about them. So anyway, I have been up to my ears in watchmaking. Glad to report it's going well. Oh, okay. Things are sunny in South Florida. Here, we've had a beautiful day today, and it just turned cloudy. And tomorrow, I guess we're getting some interesting weather. Uh, so, hi, Mark. How you doing? Hey, Eric. Okie doke. Uh, there was a really interesting. Let's see if I got it here. I thought I had one out. I guess not. There was an interesting topic that Rancher came up with. I can't find anything. I got everything in my case. You can see what a mess my workbench has been because I've been working on the workbench. Um, Okie doke. So let's talk about this. The whole idea of getting a really good looking watch, but the horology in it is so so. Now, there are two kinds of really pretty watches with so so horology. One are those that are reasonably priced. So you get a pretty watch, you're not paying a lot for the watch. What you're paying for is sort of a pretty case and a pretty dial. And some watch companies I know do that, and they do it very well. In the Grand Prix, if you look at virtually all of the watches that are in the challenge category, that's what you're going to find. You'll find a lot of them in both, and also in the sports category and the petite aiguille category. But most of them, you'll find somebody's trying to make a nice, really nice looking watch, a pretty watch, but they just want to have something that'll turn the hands as far as horology is concerned. One company I like a lot, and they're they have wonderful dials and cases. Boy, if I could think of it, it's a something and something. It's a Cuban name. They used to be in Cuba. Something and something else. Gorgeous watches. Love those watches. Very innovative designs, but pretty much they're ETAs in them. And otherwise, though, I mean, they're really good looking watches. That's one of the kind of watches I thought, well, I think I'd like to get that just for the case and the dial. Hey, Andrew. Regarding case back opening tools, I was having trouble opening the case back of a Vostok amphibian, found a 3D printed template online. I got it printed for $5 and it worked perfectly. Okay. Uh, I tell you, let me tell you why I recommend the sticky ball or the friction ball. Thing is, whoops, you have to have a cup or something to keep them in. They don't scratch. There's sort of this soft rubbery stuff, but they're sort of sticky, and they have friction, and so you can just twist them off and turn them on, and you don't scratch it. with these guys, you can scratch it, but and the sticky ball or the friction ball costs a lot less than $5, I think. Cuervo y Sobrinos. Those are the ones. I love the looks of their stuff. Thanks. Hey, Goldfinger. Um, Andrew, I tell you what, yeah, that's something. Um, the the template idea, I think that's a great one. And I have a friend who does. In fact, I have a little place that I keep my extra spring bars that he made with a 3D printer. That'd be a fun thing to have. I think my wife thinks I've got enough fun things, so, so no more fun things. Yeah. So anyway, well, you can, whatever you want to use. By the way, how many of you have you started with your project? Anybody beside me started with them yet? Hi, KH Show. How you doing? Huervo and y Sobrinos. That's right. I on that's one of the languages when I think about it and practice it, I can pronounce it. I used to sort of have to speak it, and so I learned it a little better than my French or German or English. So okay, so that's one of the kinds of watches. Oh no, sorry. Okay. Uh, so let me see. There's another brand that makes some really, really, at least I think, good-looking watches, but they really haven't done. They started to get into their own horologies through Val Fleurier, and that's oh man, I keep Poc Baume et Mercier, Baume et Mercier. That's the other one. And I have one, and they're really, really very well made. Same is true for, let me see, some other ones. How about you guys? What are some good looking watches that you wouldn't mind wearing, but the horology is, basically a ETA or even a Myotis or something that you wouldn't brag about. I'll put it that way. Whoop. Hasn't it? Am I not getting any? Brian, is something wrong with the video or the sound? Everything not is everything working? Lane and Garrick, yeah, those are good ones, Thomas. Oris, Oris, yeah, Oris and Sin. You're right, both of those, Eric. Hey, Nate, I just bought a Frank Mueller Frank Vanguard with a brown dial, beautiful case and dial, regular modified and decorated movement. Yeah, he's sort of an enigma, really. On the one hand, I think he's sort of like schizophrenic. On the one hand, he is really uh, a first class watchmaker, but most of his stuff is based on is sort of his very unique design. A friend of mine has one of his watches with all of the different colors. It's one of the rectangular ones, and it's got all the and it's really just a very attractive watch. I think that's a great example, Nate. What are some other ones that you guys can think of? Swatch. Sometimes that's all they are. You get it's sort of they put bubble gum in them, and that's what runs them. But boy, they're interesting looking watches. The master of complications. Hey, James, Carrie, how you doing? Corman, Heritage with A10 So Proud. Now, I gotta say, I am a big fan of A10 So Proud, and I think they've got a sort of almost you'd call them an introductory high horology because that's what they started off as. They were the 4L was that's what's in the A10. The Seiko 4L was the base of it, not an ETA or anything. And that was Seiko's first attempt at high horology, but their minions didn't buy them because they had to be more expensive. That's an interesting one. Quorum has a lot of very interesting things. I think also Quorum has that golden bridge that Vincent Calabrese did. Is it? I think that's who it is. That's another interesting one. You sort of there you have a mix of interesting horology uh, and design. Hey James, uh, Thomas Burnett. Oh, hi Thomas. Hi Thomas. Sorry, Eric. Louis Erod in Messina. That's a great example, Eric. Yeah, that's another one. Messina Labs is more of a design place. And they get together with, like, I think they got together. They have one they did with Harboring 2, and they great looking watches. Yeah, that's what. Yeah, thanks, James. Yeah, no, it's sort of an interesting thing. I my I think it looks great, but I got it for more of the super interesting horology, and that was my dandy, my Chaumet dandy. Chaumet, I think, has makes well, they make beautiful jewelry. They have for ever since Napoleon days. Before that, Chaumet's stuff was kings and queens. It was very popular with them, and I think it was the Chaumet brothers went belly up after they tried to corner the diamond market. Served them right, but the company went on. Chaumet did with the kind of quality that they become known for. So I have my Chaumet and the dial is I mean not the dial, but the case is about that thick. But I think it's a gorgeous watch, and it's were it not for the even I tell you what, I still think the regular old plain vanilla dandy, uh and they have a lot of small variations. I think that is a great everyday watch, or even dress watch for somebody who doesn't have that. If you've got mainly sports watches and things like that, and you don't want to spend a lot of money on a dress watch, you want something that looks good, got a fantastic history, Chaumet is one I would recommend. Yeah, Andrew, that's exactly right. Yeah, here you have this really gorgeous watch, and then you got a Solita movement. Solita movements are, they're really more workhorse movements, I think, than most people realize. Some treat them sort of as a poor man's ETA, but I don't think so. Really, tell you the truth, I think the different grades. If you get one of the higher grades of a Solita, just like if you get a higher grade of an ETA, you get a it has better finishing, better everything about it usually. Anordain, these enamel dials are gorgeous. Great example, Andrew. Yeah, that's Anordain has some. They have their. I was really surprised when they started making watches, but then it makes a lot of sense. They've been making these dials, and people have been using their dials and making lots of money on their own watches with Anordain dials. They started making them themselves. I thought it was a good idea. Hi, Suleiman. How you doing? I'm thinking of buying a Brew metric watch, just with a quirky dial. Ooh, I don't know what a Brew metric is, but it sounds interesting. Hey, Alex. I tell you, for us, I think we had a nice day here, and I'll call it the Hartford SMSA, Greater Metropolitan Statistical Area, and we had a great day. So being late on a day like this isn't bad. It's gotten cloudy tomorrow, or I guess there's some big storm that's rolling in. Fears, yeah, fears is another good example, Eric. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, you're right about the Antarctic. What are some other ones that? Let me see. They're sort of they're a little tacky, but Jacob and Company. They're all about dials, and you wonder they're sort of a iffy kinds of um, of movements. I'll tell you one too. Another one for years. They finally have their own in-house movement now. Is Bremont. Bremont, I think, had one of the best cases of any watches. I really liked them, but their insides were sort of a ETA. There was somebody put up one of the, I guess it's sort of like a cartoon at the High Horology Lounge with some woman talking about their watches. We did this with our watches, and then this and this, and finally what they really did, well, we had a Solita and we had it lasered laser engraved with our name on it. And this is what a lot of them I think are. You get a gorgeous watch, you get a cheap movement, and okay. Hey, Suleiman, now who are you referring to? Oh, Fears. Fears is based in New York, and they have the Seiko quartz movement. Okay. Nomos do some good colored dials, and the Messenger Neo has some really lovely fume colors. Yeah, the Nomos does make its own dials, though. To me, one of my favorite watches is their Lambda, which not only is, I think, looks really great, but it has a really, I mean, very definitely high horology kind of movement in it. Yeah, they're sort of a long. I mean, they have a long, what you might say, range of tiers, a long range. Okay. Oh, the no brew metric. Okay. Some of the Grand Seiko special editions have great faces, and their marketing is all about the Dow. They're not. Yeah, that's true. They're not the only one, but you're right. I agree with that. Not only with Grand Seiko, but a lot of ones. They have these. I mean, like, I don't know who gave him the idea that having Spider-Man on an Audemars Piguet was a good idea. Now, it's easy to sound like an old fogey when wow, what did they do that to that great watch for? I don't know, maybe they have a market for it, but I don't know. If I had an Audemars Piguet, I wouldn't want one with Spider-Man on it or Snake Woman or whatever else they might have. Fierce is based in Bristol. Okay. Hey, James. Hamilton has a few 3 hertz manual wines. You bet they do. I have a Hamilton chronometer with a chronograph with a 7750. Yeah, that's Hamilton, and same with Tissot. They've got some. I like Tissot at the very bottom end, where they have these Unitas ETA 6498. I love that watch. You can pick those up for about $300 to $400 now. Their MSRP was $999, which was really not a bad deal. They get a nice strap for those, and got a really nice watch. Grand Seiko and Moser are two of the best doing color dials, I feel. Yeah, they're doing. I tell you who's got great color dials is Cardivoot and Lannon. Have you seen his? His Vinge 8 with the red and the blue. Those are really pretty, I think. There was a company called Avi 8. Their dials paid homage to past airplanes. Oh, wow. That I'd like to see. There is a company that has watches in the shape of instrument panels dials. I mean, they have like an altimeter, uh, a a balance, a lot of the different indicators. I've got a big picture out in my garage of our old of the what do they call it, the dial board, the dashboard, I guess, of our airplane, and they have all of the different instruments. And so who is the company that does the all of the ones that look like airplane instruments? Can't think of their name. Gorilla is another great example, Andrew. Yeah, they have the wandering hours in one of their watches. I forgot what they have a certain set of models for that. Yeah, they're great. Reservoir, that's another one. Now their their movements, so they use quartz, I think, or something, and they have some interesting mixes in there. Those are very interesting watches. I own a Tissot chronometer, manual wind, and also balance. Replace the strap around $600. It's got a 6498 into. Oh yeah, that is love that watch. Thing I like the most about it is that it's got a curb regulator, and so you can go in there and you can play watchmaker. That's what I've joined the pretentious watchmakers. Hey, Juan, Bell and Ross. That's who I was thinking of. That's it, Juan. Thank you. Yeah, they had a whole series. I don't know if they still have them. I was very much tempted to get one of those watches. I never did though. Christopher Ward. Yeah, that's another. Maybe some of you guys know more about it than I do. Christopher Ward came out with what was, I guess, in a way, their own movement. I won't call it an in-house movement because I think they either owned or had something in Switzerland, and they came out with this movement called the SH21. And it seems to have been phased out. I'm not sure why. My hunch is that the Solitas and ETAs were working just as well, if not better, than what they had, and it was just they figured it wasn't worth it, and the Solitas were working. I'm just guessing about that's what happened to the SH21. Hi, Tuna. How you doing? Hey, okay. Oh boy, Japanese watchmaker based in Osaka. Check out their number 6 powered by Miyota. It's by Retro. Oh wow. There's another one there's a company, a watch company that starts with an X, and they have all kinds of interesting things that they do with multi-handed watches and using stacked columns or stacked sectors, uh, Xeric or something like that. That's a really interesting. I've been very tempted to buy one of those. Yeah, Nate Dogg, that's it. Xeric. They've been advertising a lot, and they've got I think they all run on Solitas or Myotas or something like that. But that's one of the kinds of watches that they're doing something interesting. That's a little, to me, when a watch that's sort of going beyond just looks, and they're doing something interesting with the horology. One of the most interesting ones, the Kadoki number 3, uses the three-armed hand. I know it sounds weird to talk about a three-armed hand, but he has a three-armed hand, and then on his dial for the time of day, it depends on where it is in the stack. And so the hand they have they're on they're the three arms on the hands are all different lengths, and so the one will go to the top row, the other in the middle, and on the bottom. To me, that's very interesting. Some of Daniel Roth academics had that also, and Zurich has a whole bunch of them. What Zurich does is that I think they use a hand with these, and they have these big poems on the end of them, and they're different lengths, and so depending on the time, you'll see them either in one row or another for the hour. And then I think for the minute hands, they do the same thing. A very creative bunch of guys. Chronomo. You know, Chronomo, the most interesting thing they've done is that they have a dial, I think, that was designed by Jaime Ahsoka. Hey, mask, let's see, I've never been tempted to buy because of the cost, but Fuzi and chain models are cool. Yeah, I agree with that. I like those a lot. They're very hard to find, except you can find a lot of them if you want to get a Fuzi and chain. Get one of the older pocket watches. You can find a lot of pocket watches for sale with Fuzi and chains. And Junhans, yeah, that's another. That's one of those German companies, I think, that has sort of what they would say punching above its weight. Certainly punching above what they charge for their watches. They're nice watches. Oh, you've got an automatic in yours. I Reservoir watches always have something creative going on. So they're really like, whoa, they're fun watches to have. I think that's great. I didn't know that. I thought they were somehow. I thought they had something quartz in there that they use for a digital readout or something like that. But I, all I know is that they're very highly regarded. The Kadoki 3 is my favorite Kadoki. It was inspired by an old English pocket watch, so I was told by Stefan Kadoki. Yeah, well, it's that may be where Zurich and Daniel Roth got their ideas for Ross's academic and all of the Zurichs. LJP, LJP base movement. LJP? JLC? Jaeger-LeCoultre, or who is LJP, Brian? Yeah, you find it a lot of really interesting, find a lot of interesting things going on by companies like Zurich. I think that is they do very fun stuff. Same thing with Gorilla. They have fun things. What is the one? Underdog. That's another one that has very creative dials and so forth. And they have sort of a funny movement to it. Baltic. Baltic is just that Baltic is one of those brands, I think, just a flat out good looking brand, but you're right. Uh, Solomon, you have that is a nice watch. That thing could pass as something way better than it is. Okay, yeah, on the reservoir, yeah, that reservoir is one of those ones that everybody that I know that knows anything about them has very high regard for them. Um, think Shane may have one. Yeah. Radcliffe Watches Les Dome. Okay, that sounds like an interesting brand. Berthens, a Chinese brand that had collaborated with Konstantin Chaikin. In fact, Chaikin promoted it. Okay, all right. Berthrans, La Joux-Perret. Okay, yeah, okay. That's the to me that they're the ones with the interesting history. I bought a Baltic MR1. Absolutely love it. Yeah, I saw one of those things, and it was just a flat out good looking watch. You know, when you see uh, to me, Patek Philippe, FP Journe, and some of these other ones, just at a glance, are a good looking watch. I got that same sense with a Baltic. What is that? Hey, KH Slow. Uh, oh, yes, Helsinki. Yes, yes, yes. SUF Helsinki. I agree. Yeah, yeah. I didn't know that what Kari Voutilanen made him. He made what? No, Kari Voutilanen owns both Voutilanen and Caton, the case maker, and they also own Comble Mine. Those are both in Switzerland. I didn't realize that the dials and cases, because I don't think the movements are made by Voutilanen, but I think I wouldn't be surprised if other parts were. Oh, okay. Because so is it. Look, guys, my time is up. I really like the stuff that you've had today, and I want to thank you, and I want to thank Rancher because Rancher was the one who gave me the idea. He gives me all these fun ideas. So anyway, I want to thank Rancher for the idea of having a pretty watch. Anyway, you guys have a great rest of your weekend, and we'll see you next week. In the meantime, take care.